Hello, Gary Q. Is October the 13th, Monday, 2025. I did a video. I'm going to flip over there. I hope this doesn't mess this whole thing up, but it's called Revelation 8 and 12 Links to 3i Atlas. So that video, I covered a lot of information. This video, I just want to get into the Revelation 12 and the sign we might have seen back in 2017. Um, uh, we have in our solar system right now, we have three meteors. One is called Lemon, one is called Swan, and the other is called 3i Atlas. And 3i Atlas is an interstellar meteor. That means it came from out of our not only our solar system, but galaxy and through other galaxies. It's very old from what we believe as far as science tells us, and it's been traveling for maybe hundreds of millions of years, and it just is passing through our solar system now. Well, the interesting thing is that this interstellar meteor called 3I stands for interstellar is the third one. The first interstellar meteor came in 2017, just 1 month um, uh, after the Revelation 12 sign, that where we saw the woman clothed with the sun. And so, if you know about that, that's good. If you don't know about that, it's probably not really relevant to what I'm going to tell you anyway. But it's interesting that we first received our first interstellar meteor, definitely definable from that category, in the same year, and within a month of seeing the 3,600 year reoccurrence of Revelation 12. So I'm going to read Revelation 12 to you in just a minute, and I'm going to go over kind of what I believe it means. A lot of people believe a lot of different things, and this is a lot faster than my video that I told you about at the start of this video, which is called Revelation 8 and 12 Links to 3i Atlas. And I think I've got that. I've got that link in the subject of this video. So something you can look at. So let's get into this. We're going to look at Revelation chapter 12. You can open your Bibles there if you'd like. What I believe Revelation 12 is it's all in the future. Of course, Revelation, John wrote this, and he was brought into heaven. And remember, what's transpired so far is that we've seen the 144,000 in Revelation 7 being sealed, and then they were martyred, and they were seen right in the throne room with God. And it says they'll never leave God's presence. Well, we see that same 144,000, I believe, as a child over here in Revelation 12. Everybody thinks it's Jesus, and I think what it's talking about, since we start with a woman with 12 stars in her crown, it's talking about Israel, 12 tribes, 12 stars, a woman getting ready to give birth. And as soon as she gives birth in Revelation 12, the baby is taken to God. Well, she gives birth. Basically, those who are born are sealed with God's sealed, so they're going to be martyred and died, but they go immediately into God's presence, as we see in Revelation 7. So in my mind, it takes away the anonymity of trying to determine whether this is about Jesus and it's historical. It's all in the future. Revelation is all in the future, so that is yet to come. So it makes it clear when we see a woman with the 12 stars. Now, back in 2017, September 23rd, we did see behind the sun, as it says in Revelation chapter 12, in the constellation Virgo, the lady we saw the 12-star crown, which it normally doesn't have, and we saw Jupiter go through the womb and come out 9 months later, which is representing. And this could take us back 9 months from when. Well, that probably doesn't. But let's think about it this way: that 3i Atlas was first seen in it's an interstellar meteor. Remember that 3i stands for the third interstellar meteor that's been in our solar system, and it was first seen on July 2nd, 2025. So this year in July it was seen, And then on October 3rd, it went past Mars and is heading toward the sun. And so it's going like toward Mars now. It was like 50 million miles from Mars, and the Earth is over here. And so right now it's the sun is between. Here's the sun, my thumb. Here's 3i Atlas, and it's 130 million miles away from the sun, so it's pretty high. So 3i Atlas is coming past the sun this direction, and then Mars was there. Then the Earth is going to be over over here, and it's going to keep shooting in this direction. Actually, it's going to be this direction. No, I'm way off here. This is really hard to do backwards. It's going to be up here compared to the Earth, and it's going to continue going that way. Okay, so it's coming that way. It went past Mars, kind of over way way back down over here. It's harder to do than you think. Anyway, so it's going to be 168 million miles from Earth at its closest. So is it going to hit Earth? It doesn't seem very likely. But the point of it is in Revelation 12 it talks about when this woman was getting ready to give birth, there appeared a red dragon at her feet, and there was no red dragon at her feet at that time. It actually says in there that the moon was, under her feet. So that's another thing that this particular solar event or celestial event only occurs once every 3,600 years. So this is the second time, that we can possibly verify it. But so all these things were in place. The 12 stars in her crown, Jupiter going through her womb, the moon at her feet. She's ready to give birth, it says, and it's going through Virgo, which has got legs like this, shaped like this, and then it goes into the torso. But anyway, it's kind of shaped like a woman, so you can clearly see where the chest and torso is, and the legs where the baby would be extracted from, or comes from. Anyway, so we see all those in place in that event. But what was missing, and what is interesting about Revelation 12, it says in the very beginning, it says, I saw a great wonder in heaven. And it talks about the woman. Then it says, and I saw another wonder in heaven. Now that to me tells me that these two things don't have to be seen at the same time. And it talks about a great red dragon. Okay, so if we separate those two events and say this is all about Israel because it's got the 12 stars, and the 12 stars represent the 12 tribes of Israel, and what's going to be giving birth is going to be a group of people that were in Revelation 7 are going to be taken to God as soon as they die and stay with God forever, it says in Revelation 7. Really clarifies what Revelation 12 means. We don't have to guess about that. So the interesting thing is right now, I pointed out which way, I can't just do that. It's so weird. I'll take this over here, take it up this way. Still wrong. Anyway, so the 3i Atlas is going to go past the sun, and we can't see it right now until October the 29th, probably, is be behind the sun. And then even when it comes out, it's hard to see it with the satellites because that could damage the equipment. My speaker is not very loud. Can anybody hear me? I don't know. I may be talking for nothing. I'll check it out, and if it doesn't work, I'll do another one. Anyway, so when it comes out, it's going to be at the feet of Virgo, and I think that's very interesting. We see that. Good, thank you for that confirmation. So we see when it comes out, it's going to be at the feet of Virgo, where the red dragon we thought should have appeared from Revelation 12, in 2017. 2017, remember, is the time that we saw the first interstellar meteor come into our solar system, and that was on October 19th, 2017. On September 23rd, 2017, about a month before that, we saw this sign in the heavens. So now we might be seeing through another meteor, this 3i Atlas, the red dragon appearing. Now the red dragon appearing is seen in Daniel chapter 7. It has 10 horns. Okay, it's the fourth world empire. So we know it's another late days thing, last days thing, and it's for Israel. Okay, we see it in Revelation 17, where it talks about the lady coming out of the sea, and she's riding a beast, and the beast has 10 horns. So we see the red dragon in Revelation 12 has 10 horns. It's the same thing. It's the last days world empire that's going to suppress Israel. It says that the dragon takes from the 12 stars of the woman's crown, knocks out 4 of the stars, a third, it says. So we see that that could be 4 of the tribes of Israel that won't be able to escape, because it says in Matthew chapter 24, verse 15, that the abomination of desolation will appear. We know that's the start of the last 3.5 years, and people in Judea should flee. And we see that in Zechariah chapter 13, that those people are kept in safety over there through the tribulation period. But chances are that 4 of those tribes of Israel won't make it to that point of safety. And of course, this tribe, these people, these 8 tribes that made it over to Zechariah chapter 13 and make it through the tribulation will be the ones in Matthew 24:39 that say, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord," when Jesus returns for the millennium. So we wrap that up. But here's the thing. This meteor 3I Atlas going around the sun is going very fast. So it's probably not going to get sucked into the sun, into the sun's orbit. So it won't turn very much. But if it has fragments, and we don't know what it's doing behind the sun, it could be getting hit by, solar flares from the sun, solar winds, creatures we don't know. It could be just a very loose comet, and it could break up, and it's got a core of carbon monoxide, which is very different. This is a very different type of asteroid, and it puts out more gas than it should, because mostly comets are made of I think ice and iron and gas. This seems to be made out of other stuff, basically carbon monoxide and nickel silver or something. I'm not sure what to say, but it should be putting off that much gas as it gets close to the sun, and that creates the tail. And maybe sometimes the tails even seems like it's coming out different directions. That could be optical things like that. I don't know. But when it comes around the sun, is there a possibility, since it is at the foot of Virgo, the constellation Virgo at that time, on October the 29th and all through December, is there the chance that it could impact another meteor? Is there the chance that it could fragment, and these fragments pieces could get into the orbital plane of all the planets, and they would be going around like some of the current asteroid storms that we have occasionally a year? I can't remember the name. Anyway, they come around, and we watch them in the skies because there's a lot more streaks of light to see. So could this 3I Atlas fragment get into this plane and go around, and maybe in a year or 2 years or 3 years, hit the Earth? And when it does hit the Earth, long way getting there. Could it be that does it match what we see in Revelation chapter 8? Now, it's interesting. Revelation 12, it was after Revelation 8. But Revelation 8 is like the beginning. Revelation 7, God says, "Don't hurt the earth," and that's an implication that something is going to come from outside of the earth. He tells the angels on the 4 winds in Revelation 7:2, "Don't hurt the earth until I seal my 144,000." So we're seeing this could be something that this could happen. This asteroid in this Revelation chapter 8 with wormwood and all the meteors hitting Earth, that could happen after the time that the 144,000 have been sealed. Now, I personally believe, and most people believe, I think that the rapture happens first, then the war in Matthew 24:7 happens, then the 144,000 are sealed, and then we get the 7th short world empire that lasts for a little bit of time, and then we're in the last 7 years. That seems to be the flow. But if these fragments are floating around, could they impact, like the other two comets, Lemon and Swan, or other comets that are coming through, or other asteroids that come through on a regular basis? Could they divert some of this stuff? And part of the thing in Revelation was that the very last angel, not the last angel, I think the 5th angel sounded his trumpet, and 1/3 of the sun, 1/3 of the moon, and 1/3 of the stars, it says, was destroyed. Now, whether that means that, and the stars would refer to the planets, not real stars out in way out there, like Antares or whatever, some of the names of the other stars, but it would refer to the planets. So, and it means that they go dark. Now, I was thinking too, also, could it be that these asteroids impacting Earth are going to slow down the rotation of Earth? So it says we lose 1/3, or we lose 1/3, yes, 1/3 of our day. I think it says that in Revelation 12. I'm going to have to go over and look at Revelation 8. So if you look at Revelation 8, if it says we lose 1/3 of our day, it's because the rotation has changed or slowed down. So things would change in that direction. Um, and so could that also mean that this is dust fragments caused by the other meteors and the things hitting the earth that we see also in Revelation chapter 8? Could it mean that it's actually hitting the sun and causing bigger solar flares? Because the Bible says also that at that time, men's flesh will would burn from them. And and so and so we wonder if all those things are possibilities. But the big thing is that it seems to start out with in Revelation 8 a missile, and that causes blood, human blood, and that causes a lot of death. And we see that also in Revelation 18. And then the next thing we see in Revelation 8 is another fiery mountain falling from the skies. That could be the fragments of some of these comets hitting the Earth. Time frame is still unclear, but we won't be here because we'll already be gone in the rapture. But the people that don't believe in Jesus, will still be here to suffer through that. So you watch my video, and I get more into detail what each of these things in Revelation chapter 8 mean. And but what I want to tell you now is that it seems to me that, and I talk in my video too about people who have one parent who are Christian saved and one parent that's not, and it says that the children are holy, and I talk in there about what that means. So does that mean that the children who are in homes where there's one believer are all going to be raptured? What does that mean? I get into that a little bit. No great conclusions there, but there's things to be seen. And the other thing I was thinking about was we see the spring festivals as being already completed, with Passover and Jesus being the Passover lamb and the resurrection and the 3 days in the tomb and the giving of the law the same day as Pentecost, which is the giving of the Spirit. So we see those things being fulfilled through Jesus in the spring feast. The fall feast, it seems to me, are more like for Israel in the last 7 years. You got your trumpets to be alerted that something's going to happen. Then you've got the Day of Atonement when the scapegoat goes out and the goat, the regular goat, gets sacrificed. The scapegoat could be reflective of Matthew 24:16 and Judea fleeing to Zechariah 13, wherever they go to. Matter of fact, it does state in the Bible where they go to hide out. Edom and a couple other countries or places. But anyway, so that's all in there, and so we see that so Israel will be safe during that same, or part of Israel will be safe. But it makes me wonder that if the only true Gentile feasts that we don't have in common with the Jews and with the fall and spring feast would be Christmas. And so I looked up what is the most likely time. I did an AI search, excuse me. But if you work with AI, you can get it to say the things you want it to say. I didn't in this case. I just asked it when would be the most likely time for for them to have had a census, to make it, for a king to do it, to least likely mess up his planting season and harvest seasons. And they came back with from November through March is the time when probably that would be the easiest time. So it's probably in the time of Jesus when Mary and Joseph went to take the census, in Bethlehem. So looking at that good time frame, with knowing that January in Israel is the coldest, wettest month, so chances are maybe he wouldn't make them go out in that kind of weather because he'd want to get good results from the census. So maybe he would send them out, as early or as late as possible. So it's possible that Jesus was born, in that November to March time frame, and maybe earlier, like in November, even in a time frame kind of that we celebrate, kind of our Christmas thing could be November, December. I'm sure the days aren't exactly on, but that could be reflective again of what we're seeing when this Three-Eye Atlas comes out from behind the sun and goes past Earth. I think at the end of December. I think around December 29th is when it goes when it goes past the Earth at the closest distance and comes out from around the sun and can be seen again. So that's something to think about. I just wanted to put that out there because, um, and so I don't know what that is. I just got a message on my phone. Uh, so I hope that less clarifies the things I wanted. I'm going to do another video. I actually found the screens I was looking for in the first video, and I won't make it as long. I'll make it more about the 3i Atlas. But that's something to think about. And so the children of those who have one parent who believe in God, um, how about the people who never have believed and won't believe in it? It goes to the parable of the sower, where some heard, but it went to the wayside. And so we see that there's a lot of people that hear and never do anything about it. And the parable of the 10 virgins, all this is in the other video, parable of the 10 virgins, they hear and they stay with it. The 5 virgins that had the lamp, they stayed with it. They stayed with Jesus. They stayed in the faith. And I believe that those will be the ones that will be raptured at the midnight cry. So go watch the video and do that. I just want to do this because just this afternoon, I started really understanding about Revelation 12 and how it really had to be for the last days and about Israel. So it's not quite as confusing. So nothing else. Maybe you got something out of that. Well, listen, that's all I got. I'll keep this up because I wanted somebody commented. I think it was Ruthie. Yeah. So and I can be heard. So I wanted to do it again, but I may do another one like this as we learn more and get rid of this one. And I definitely will do another video, just a hard video with the things I got from AI and from the pictures I got off the internet of the 3i Atlas and things like that. All right. Have a good day. God bless you, and keep paying attention. All right. Keep witnessing. It's a great time to witness. Tell people, ask people, say, hey, do you know what's going on in our solar system right now? Do you know that we got a meteor that's going to come up past the sun, and it's going to be right in the place where Satan stands in Revelation chapter 12. And just point to Revelation 12, print it up and hand them a flyer, or just say, come to my church, or come to my church, come to some videos on YouTube, and just look it up, Revelation 12. All right, God bless. That's it for me. Have a nice week.